And this is why you want the best CPA on your team, right? CPAs, lawyers, they will make or break you.
Well, Amy, thank you so much for joining me.
Of course, it's so great to be here. I always love connecting with you.
Yes, yes. Well, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Oh, wow, girl. So, like many of our friends, I'm a real estate investor and I'm a flipper in Austin, Texas. Been investing in real estate for 14 years. And I also have a mentorship program, RPM, where I teach investors how to grow and scale their real estate business by raising private money. And it's crazy because they have so many questions when it comes to taxes and how do we reduce our taxable income and how do we protect ourselves and can we hire our children and what does that look like? And so every time I see you, I have 1,000 questions I want to ask you.
What I love about you is so you do flips and then you teach people how to raise capital through private lending, but you also teach people on how to invest as a private lender, right?
Yes.
So like both sides of the coin.
Absolutely. So how do we raise money is one strategy, and then we wear a very different hat when we're lending money, right? So it's like, what does that process look like? Do they pay taxes on their interest income earned? Of course, right? So what does that paperwork look like? But it's crazy because whether you're raising and lending, it's such a good way for us to just diversify our portfolios and invest in real estate, just like start to build that generational wealth.
Yeah, for me, I feel like being a lender is the most passive type of real estate.
Yes.
Right? We have like flipping is super active, long-term, mid-term, short-term rentals are somewhat active. And then you could invest in syndication where you're technically passive. But as a lender, what am I required to do?
Yeah, so whenever, I'll use myself as an example, whenever I'm lending on a deal, number one, I always lend out of an LLC because I want to treat it like a business. I want to set it up the right way. I want to earn those additional, tax deductions. Number two, I will require a personal guarantee. So I want to make sure that the investor I'm lending to prepares the appropriate types of contracts.
Yeah.
So like the promissory note, the recorded mortgage, the insurance certificate, and then number four is that personal guarantee.
Yeah.
But number three is I really want to vibe with them.
Yeah.
You have to understand their team, their dynamic, their underwriting process, right? So before I ever lend on a deal, or before anyone of you ever lends on a deal, like make sure you really understand who that investor is. Like ask them the hard questions. Have you ever lost money on a deal?
Yeah.
And if you do, how did you handle it?
Yeah.
Right? So are you going to guarantee a return? No, we can't guarantee anything, right?
Right.
So it's just really having a lot of those conversations up front and level setting those expectations so that hopefully you're on the same page moving forward.
Yeah, love it. So it's not just about the deal, but the person that you're lending to as well. And you mentioned how do they handle when they've lost money on a deal? Are there any like one or two other great questions that you think somebody should always ask when they're considering being a private money lender?
Yeah, so always ask, number one, who makes up your team?
Okay.
Right? Because I don't mind if you're new or experienced, but I want to know you have your power team in place.
Yeah.
So what does your team look like, number one? And then what's your buying criteria? Why did you select this neighborhood? What's your underwriting process look like? How long have you been with your contractors? So I guess that's more than two questions.
Really? So you're asking about the deal, basically.
Yes,
if you're an investor.
Absolutely. And so one of the things that I started doing, and I still do now, like 14 years in, is anytime I'm going to lend on a deal, I get the investor onto a Zoom, and then I record the Zoom, and I have them take me through every single cost variable of the deal. That way I can go back, I can listen to it, I can pause the video, and then I can follow up with better questions that I may not have thought of at the time.
Yeah.
Right? So we really want to understand their underwriting process.
Do you use ChatGPT to come up with good questions for a specific deal?
So if we're supposed to use ChatGPT, I don't. I am the worst. I don't use it. I don't know it. I don't know if it's because I am lazy, but it's like, no, I don't. I need to start using it more.
I was just curious because for us, I have clients who will come to a tax meeting with some ChatGPT tax questions. So that's kind of a new thing. That's why I'm always asking people now, like, do you use ChatGPT to come up with questions?
No, but that's a good idea.
Yeah. Like, All right, you said you have some tax questions. So
Okay, yes.
Tell me your top 2 or 3.
Okay, so here's a very common one from private money lenders out there.
Yeah.
They're so excited about lending on deals, whether it's your deal or my deal, right?
Yeah.
But they never understand the paperwork process. And we talked about this a little bit the last time I saw you.
Yeah.
But do private money lenders have to pay taxes on interest earned income?
Yes. So generally, if I'm a private money lender, whether I'm lending to Amy's deal or I'm just putting money in a CD at a bank account, it's the same way. So typically, what I earn is interest income as a lender, or even if I get some kind of profit split, it is typically taxable. But that is one of the main reasons for our clients who are wanting to lend as one of their investment asset classes. I always encourage them to look at retirement accounts.
Okay.
Because money in a retirement account, let's say an IRA or an old work 401k, if you use that to lend, then oftentimes that tax on the interest is deferred or tax-free inside of a retirement.
Yes, totally, you're right.
And there's all these rules about self-directed investing where you can't be hands-on, you can't have sweat equity, and that's already naturally built in when you're lending money, right? I'm not doing any sweat equity at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for those of you who may not be clear on this, if we lend money out of a 401k or Roth IRA, does all of that interest income have to go back into the retirement account?
It kind of depends for each different taxpayer and what kind of retirement account it is. But generally, the rule is that if you are younger, so under retirement age, we do want the money to go back into the retirement account if you wanted to continue growing, tax-free or tax-deferred, which is sort of the purpose, right? Now, if you have a 401k and some money went back and you said, I really needed it for living expenses or whatnot, you could borrow from your own 401k tax-free, penalty-free. But again, the ideal is we want to have more money in the retirement so it's growing, compounding, tax-deferred or tax-free.
Okay, so then for everyone out there who wants to just be passive, they want to be private money lenders, they don't want to start flipping houses, is your advice to them to always lend out of an LLC regardless of what their source of funding is?
It depends, because from a tax perspective, it really doesn't make any difference whether you do it personally or through an entity. So then what we're looking at is the cost-benefit analysis, because having an LLC is not free, right? So from an entity, and also from a liability protection too, obviously, that's a question they have to talk with their attorney on. But I do think that's another consideration. But I love what you said about having the LLC to have that separation, and also just treating it more like a business. You're forced to do it that way because you have a different bank account and all that.
Right. Okay. So last question for today only. So I'll use myself as an example. Let's say I'm only a private money lender and I want to lend on your deal. And I'm going to create an LLC because that's going to be my main business, right? Just lending on deals. Regardless of the source of funding. As a private money lender, because I have an LLC, can I still hire the right way, like my kids to be employees, to reduce the taxable income, or does it have to be a certain type of business owner?
Yeah, great question. So to hire your kids, this is a common misconception too. It's not about a legal entity. So you can even have a sole proprietorship and hire your kids from your sole proprietorship, or just in your individual name. Like Amy can hire her kids to help out in her rental business, whatever happens to be. So entity or lack of entity doesn't change those facts at all. What it does come down to though is how old are your kids? What are they actually doing for your investing, whether it's lending or a rental property, and just making sure you're paying them the appropriate amount for whatever it is they're doing. So that's going to be the key. But I think there's a lot of misconception. People feel like, I can't pay my kids because I don't have an LLC. But that's not a requirement. If you think about it, just because I have an LLC doesn't mean I can start writing off, getting my nails done or pedicure. It has to be still. It does have to be. You have to show the business purpose. It's the same thing with hiring kids. It's making sure they're actually doing this.
And this is why you want the best CPA on your team, right? CPAs, lawyers, they will make or break you. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I always love chatting with you.
Thanks, Amy.